All right, and we are back better than ever with our guest Eddie. What up, Eddie? How you doing?
What is up? What is up? Punchline Eddie, how you guys doing?
You go by Eddie Punchline?
Uh,
Punchline Eddie?
Punchline Eddie, it's one of my many names.
Gotcha,
Right.
gotcha.
So we met you I met you first officially like a month or so prior, like at the Krack Jokers meeting at Popcorn Basement,
Dang, was that only a month ago?
like a month or two ago. It has to be.
Dang, yeah, I guess it was. So yeah, we did. I think we did meet. I don't know how long you guys have been doing comedy prior. I mean, obviously, Johnny, I know how much you've been doing.
You were there when I first went up.
Yeah. That was my first time. But Jay, I didn't, I really didn't know how many times I or anything like
The
that.
first time you see me at tonight, that was the first night.
Oh wow, okay, so you go.
Yeah, so well, tell me more about like your story. Like, how long have you been doing comedy for?
Yeah, I've been doing it for about, I would say we're definitely pushing about 2 years now. So it was probably about a year and some change. But yeah, I mean, that was basically the whole thing about it. You know what I'm saying? It's been an interesting run. I get to just pick off all the errors that my dad makes,
Right.
That's kind of how that works. So it's fun. It's interesting.
We all had a set yesterday at Tony Roney's Comedy Vibe,
Yeah.
and me and Jalen ate shit. But how was your set?
It actually wasn't that bad. Like I said, I've just been working on a lot of work when I go to Tony's.
Yeah,
So, certain things,
right.
if that makes sense. So, when I go to Tony's, if I have a really polished, refined set, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. At the same time, you want to really consider the audience. You want to consider who you're dealing with. What kind of audience is this? Well, you might have a bunch of millennials. You know what I'm saying? So, you might have a bunch of, the opposite. You might have a bunch of like old people, like Gen X.
How do you tailor it towards these crowds? Like,
There's what I understand. It's 2 years in, so not at all am I expert at it. I'm still missing 18 years or whatever. But from what I understand, this is just me picking up on everybody that I know. Popcorn, you got Tony, you got my dad. Is that number one? You got universal jokes. So you got stuff that's universal that just kind of just works on anybody. It's quirky. It might be kind of sneaky. Whatever the literary device is. And then on top of that, you might have things that are more, like you said, more tailored for that specific crowd.
right.
Like they might get, like an older Gen X crowd might get a lot of, especially if they're a black crowd, they might get a lot of hip hop jokes,
Right.
from that time period, from the 80s or when they growing up in the 90s, because 90s was prime time for them.
Right.
Yeah, totally. They were like in their 20s when the 90s was prominent.
And who were the prominent like rappers back in that day?
Right. I mean, listen, you got Wu-Tang, you know what I'm saying? Like these are
LL Cool J,
Right.
Run DMC,
right.
Tupac?
Yeah, totally. Yep, Tupac, you got the
Tupac,
Biggie.
Biggie.
So it was kind of
Biggie.
wherever you are. We're in the East Coast.
Yeah.
Because we're in the East Coast, it's going to be more likely, like you said, you got the Run DMCs, you got a lot of these characters. Even if we go back to like the dawn of rap, which was late 60s,
Right.
where you had a Grandmaster Flash, so you had a lot.
And that was a while.
Absolutely, yeah, Grandmaster Flash,
Big Herc, who had invented hip hop.
right?
He invented hip hop.
Oh yeah, it was in September. Like they just celebrated the 50-year anniversary.
Dang.
So yeah, so it was in September. It was a back to school party. Cool Herc was DJing in a basement somewhere, in a rec center in Queens, I think, or Bronx, somewhere around there in New York. Definitely in the hood, and in one of them boroughs in New York in the hood, like it's Bronx or Queens, one of those two. So he did a back to school party, just mixing, and shit grew from there.
Wow.
Developed like a cult following, like shit, like that one Netflix show that Jaden Smith is on, Will Smith's kid.
Yeah, I know who you.
Like that was on there. That was talking about like how DJs and turntables and shit like started hip hop, because like kind of like it's like hip hop is really morphed so much from now. Now I want to get back to your story just a bit. Just
No, you're good. Yeah, this.
because like hip hop is like changed, because it's like now it's so much drug culture, gang culture,
Yeah.
and shit like that that's involved. When in early hip hop, dope dealer and gangsters didn't want shit to do with none of these
Yeah.
motherfuckers. They was like,
Really?
oh no, they like thought motherfucking like Grandmaster Flash and them. They thought them motherfuckers was straight nerds. Like, get the fuck on away from me.
That's funny, bro.
Like, but it's like shit.
I mean, it's kind of like the band kids in a way.
Oh, that's exactly what it was. Straight Glee Club.
Yeah.
Really, because they was really like developing shit, like a lot of shit, like even like scratching and DJing, like
That's
that
what-
shit. Yeah, that was invented by accident.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was another kid in New York. He was a DJ, and his mom came in, told him turn that bullshit the fuck off. He got scared. His hand hit the record, and it made that little scratch sound. He played it back in his headphones, and he just started imitating it, and that shit just sounded good. He took it to the stage.
Wild.
That
Nice.
shit been there forever. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great. I had never heard that once. in my
Oh
life. That's
shit!
great.
Like hip hop is like a gift from God, truly, I believe, because it has like in truly every sense of the way permeated, like gotten into and fucking expanded every other industry, like
Yeah.
the automotive industry,
Totally.
motherfucking like music, fucking entertainment, even like
New
most
music.
like oh yeah, like it's gotten into so many other things like. It hit like I'm talking like with the automotive industry, like 20-inch rims and shit like that, car
Right.
paints, wraps, and all that shit. That came out of hip hop first.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, hip hop is it's very expansive. And you know what I really believe is that hip hop was going to happen anyway. Like he said, there were some components that happened by accident. Hey, even French fries. Sorry, French fries. Yeah, French fries were created by accident too.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, how is that? How is that done?
I think it was either the French fry or the potato chip. I forget which one. I think it might have been the potato chip.
Okay.
The potato chip because of the way that the guy was cutting the fries one day. He cut it by accident, like as a
Really?
like peeled it as a chip.
Oh,
And I
dang.
think that's how chips kind of came off. I think they understood how to make fries. You just cut them. You can cut them into fries and stuff. So
The beginning of things like that, like, bro, that stuff is so interesting.
yeah,
Oh yeah, it's like shit. I be watching like when I get stoned and high, like I be watching YouTube videos of how stuff's made, the origin stories of things,
Yeah.
and it's like I learned way more from this than I've ever did in school. Eddie, back to your story. What was your first show like?
yeah. My first show, it was kind of interesting. I had an idea of what this was. I was exposed to the environment enough times, so I knew what it was. Getting up on stage, you always have those first time nerves. With me, it's kind of all about the environment now. You know, with the environment, that kind of either creates or dispels the nerves. Like me and my dad, every Wednesday we go to Mr. Maps. It's on 7 Mile on the east side. It's a little bit of an older building. You know, it's got some stuff that needs a completely remodeling and stuff. But you know, it's basically like kind of almost like a time machine because it's
Kind of
like
cool.
yeah, almost. Have you ever been? You've been to Maps.
Have I?
I think you've been to Maps. I've seen you a couple times.
At Maps?
Mr. Maps. I thought you were there. If not, it's okay. We'll invite you there. But essentially, you know, when I go to places like that, or even Cabbage Patch, we don't go to Cabbage Patch anymore.
Yeah.
But even places like that,
I liked that one.
it's it's a more relaxed environment,
Mhm.
and your nerves aren't going to be as tense because if you get up there and you just talk some shit, hey, that's fine. You know, you have a set, hey, that's great too. So it kind of goes both ways. But with Tony Roni's, it really is your sandbox. So when I got up there on my first day, my first time being up there, like I have somewhat of a background in public speaking. So it's a lot of this stuff for me isn't really that bad.
What is that background?
I study psychology.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I
Okay.
study human behavior. I've been studying it for almost about 10 years now, probably going on about 11 years.
So you can get your master's, right?
That's funny. No, ironically as that sounds, I actually have never taken a class in psychology ever.
Yeah.
And what I've been doing is I can assimilate notes from other people. My sister took a psychology class. My girlfriend, she had a psychology class. And what's funny is that none of these people have the database that I have as far as psychology. Do I know everything? Absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? But when you go to a class, you think, oh, you've got it. You've got that idea, whatever it is. You think that you've accumulated or you've got it. And they really don't know anything because you haven't applied the knowledge.
100%.
I've actually applied the knowledge. So that's a quick story.
Hey, man, Trump be proud. I didn't study this for sure, but I know people who have, and I'm very confident in my abilities. But I get it. But it's, well, again, it's not this to you, but it's like, because I be feeling that same way, kind of.
Yeah.
Because me, I've been doing, my job is a maintenance tech for an apartment complex.
Yeah.
That's the first job I've had, and I just stuck with it. So I've been doing it for basically almost 12 years now, coming up. And I'm 29, so I've been doing this for a while now.
Okay.
So I've been up my 12 years, and I've seen people from every walk of life you can imagine.
Man, yeah.
Homeless to rich.
I can imagine.
And all different types of stories, like people who have good, loving, caring parents, kids who got good, loving parents, kids who have parents who neglect the fuck out of them. The house completely trashed. They don't give a fuck. Kids dirty. type shit.
And you're just in there? Wow,
Like trying to fix up whatever the hell these people broke. But it's like
damn.
when you see these people and you hear their conversations and stuff, and that's when I get to talking to them, you see like a lot of things like with mental health and stuff like that is very much real. So really like to study it and know what you're talking about with it is very important.
Yeah.
Because, like even like me, I've gone through a bit of depression. Have you gone through depression?
No, never. I've, depression is an interesting concept because I really do believe it's all, this is another one of those psychological things, but it's like something like depression, I think only exists based on what environment you're in. You could be in a depressive environment and it can invite depression. Yeah. Now, could it be permanent? Could it be temporary? I think it can go either or.
Yeah.
If you never saw the sun ever again and it only rained, that'd be kind of depressing.
Living in Oregon.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. So it's like, and the idea is if you never saw it ever, well, you might not be as happy as you would be, when you see the sun. So that may be depressing.
Right.
And it could be permanently depressing unless you decide to move or so forth. Right. So the idea is that the depression is not this one thing. People think that I had especially in this generation we live in today, they've got all these self-diagnoses. I've got ADHD. Oh
Right.
God,
Right.
I've got oh my God, I think I've got ADD.
Bipolar.
Right. I'm schizophrenic.
Oh.
It's like,
Well, if they're saying they're schizophrenic, that one's kind of like you can tell if someone's schizophrenic.
Yeah, that's like schizophrenia. You got to be actually diagnosed and proven.
That one is
Like, because that shit is like, I've known a few people who actually became schizophrenic.
yeah.
sure.
And there's also like other contributing factors, like I said, like with depression, because some people moods, in my opinion, are like just dialed to be their mood. Like
Yeah.
other people, when they like feel pain, they don't feel this like same way. Like if I
Sure.
slap your hand, slap his hand all the same way,
Right.
like would it hurt everybody the same type shit?
Well, no, and we're all different, but we're all the same. And what I like to do is number one, I like to challenge diagnosis, and number two, I like to make a distinction called we're all human beings. And I think we often forget that.
Right.
Sometimes your ego gets too big and you forget that you're a human being. So when you make an error, if you're a perfectionist, you beat yourself up, but you forgot that you were a human being.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's really important to get that. Hey,
Great way of putting it.
yeah, it totally is. Even on some landmark stuff, but it's like, hey, the idea of ADD or ADHD. Well, hey, everybody's focus isn't going to be the same. And
Right.
number one, men, especially little boys, are going to have a lot of energy
Right.
growing up
right.
at a young age. So when teachers try to diagnose young kids to say that they have ADD because they're not sitting in class for 6 to 7 hours straight, like a woman could.
Yeah, teachers will diagnose like your guidance counselor. Like
Absolutely.
it's
Because
like when you
the school gets money.
oh, dude,
I
like
didn't know that.
when you have a kid and you give your kid to the school for the day, like you send them to school for the day, that's no longer your kid. That's theirs. That's why you have to sign them out of class. You have to call ahead. And that's like if you miss so many days, it's like a truance. Like you can go to jail for that shit.
But I don't think teachers can prescribe.
No, they
No, but
like,
they can make a
they-
recommendation.
they could like
Yeah.
they'll send them down to the guidance counselor. They'll make recommendations. They'll ask like, hey, can we do X, Y, Z? And a lot of it is because a big business is a motherfucker. It just don't start with one person. It's like a multitude. Like Big Pharma, they'll come to schools. They'll be like, hey, if you have kids exhibiting these types of forms of depression or exhibiting these signs,
Right.
we have a pill. We have something that we recommend that they can take. This is yada, 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 been approved by FDA, FCC. They're going to pay the teachers or whoever money to like, hey, put this in your school for us. Like, a lot of,
Teachers union.
yeah, they lobbyists. It's like
Yeah.
when it comes to lobbyists, man, those are like the most powerful, rich motherfuckers in the world.
Yeah.
Because every month, every like Fortune 500 company has a lobbyist behind them.
But let me speak from experience here because when I was a freshman in high school, I got diagnosed with ADD, but I
I did the
didn't.
same. They tried to diagnose when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
My parents said that the doctor said I had symptoms of ADD.
Okay.
And I can see it in my work ethic is that I'll get, I can get distracted really easily.
Right.
But that doesn't mean necessarily that I have ADD because one of the ingredients with ADD is that they cannot multitask. And my multitasking is excellent because I work in a restaurant.
Right.
It has to be. My multitasking is very good.
Oh,
So unless you meet the requirements of the diagnosis, do I even really have the diagnosis? Or is my ability to get distracted really even a distraction, or is it my ability to pay attention? Is it awareness?
Right.
Is it my ability to pay attention to multiple things at one time? So this is the deep dive into the assessment. You have ADHD, you have AD, you have OCD,
Yeah,
right?
but like at the time though, when they were prescribing all these medicines and stuff, they had no evidence of any documented research to back this shit up. They just created the drug.
It's big, but it's big. Like you said, it's big pharmaceutical.
Yeah, the fucking what's the name had fought back on them on their ass on that shit. It was Mission Impossible actor Tom Cruise.
Oh, hey, oh yeah, I heard about
What did
that.
he do?
Like he was on the news and he was telling people like at the time when they ADHD was really like becoming the main thing concerned about the kids being in school.
Oh, okay.
He was saying, no, you don't got to get your kids like these drugs and shit like that. It was also like
Smart,
kids with depression, like when they started giving little children Xanax and shit like I called that shit at an early age. I was like, man,
That's suburban mom shit right there, bro.
because like
For real.
it's like you got to understand they have to justify their wages.
Yeah.
So if nobody's out here getting sick, they gonna make some shit to get you sick.
Let me finish that story. So I'm a freshman. I'm going into freshman year of high school, right?
Yeah.
And my mom takes me to the doctor because my sister had been diagnosed with ADHD, which she actually had. You could just tell because it calmed her down when she would take it. When I took it, I was focused as hell. And my mom's like, oh, well, this seemed to help you because I would always fuck off in school. Like, you know, in 8th grade, dude. I was too busy slamming pussy at that time. Thank
If
you.
it was a movie theater in the house, look out, Johnny's coming.
For real. I have a story about a movie theater, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. But I go to the doctor. He gives me like the test or whatever. It was like a thing to fill out.
Yeah.
The questions were whack, bro. They were like, do you run around and make airplane noises and shit? And I'm like, no. What, like 12 at this point? And my mom's like, after it's done and turns out I don't have it, she's like, well, I know he has it. Let's get him prescribed ADD. And then the doctor goes, well, I can't unless he proves it through this test. We can retake the test. And then as we're taking the test, this guy is reading the questions to me and he's going, do you do this? Like,
Come on, man, go get
say yes, say yes. You know, because he's going to pay for the prescription. And so I got prescribed it. It became a problem.
That was the house mom's favorite drug right there. Because like you just give this to the kid, they go quiet down, you go off, bottle of Chardonnay, just in the back listening to Dreams by Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
So,
Yeah. So I mean, that's you know what's funny about that, you know, and that's a great story by the way. You know, is there really is a narrative push here, and even on some landmark stuff, I know you get at least some of the stuff is that there's an impact.
Right.
There's an impact on the side of the kid. There's an impact on the side of the parent. There's an impact on the side of the administrator. You know, there's an impact on the on the pharmacy.
Yeah.
So it's like everybody. There's an impact
that's all
everywhere.
society, yeah.
Right. There's some sort of impact. Hey, well, the mom gets, like you said, used to down a whole bottle of Chardonnay,
you're right.
vodka, whatever. You know, the kid is, oh, well, I'm focused now. So the kid has all sorts of different registrations going on in his head. Well, I guess this works. I guess I need this. I guess, well, mom said I'm supposed to, well, the doctor, well, the school, the principal, you know, so it's so many components here and all of it is fake. All of it is false.
Right.
And that's so hard to digest because we really want to do what's best for the kids, you know, as a parent. And when all of that isn't actually real for your child, that isn't a drug, you know, because they didn't have this stuff, you know, when you go like back to the 60s or the 50s, you know, I would hear stories that they didn't have a lot of kids with autism or anything like that.
Yeah.
And autism isn't necessarily bad. You know, it just means that their ability to process or understand certain components as everyone else would is slightly different or differentiated or they're divergent.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Perhaps. You know, so that's the whole idea is that you can actually mold an autistic kid to as you would, quote unquote, a regular human being or a regular citizen. You know what I'm saying? So it's more than possible to do it. I've heard of it being done. I've seen it done a couple times.
Some of those kids with autism like are very much like genius, like on the like
Totally,
100%.
because see, and there's this we're diving very deep. But there's this book called the Kabbalion.
Let's dive deep.
There's this book called the Kabbalion, and one of the principles inside the Kabbalion is like this book that like
Kabbalion.
it goes over like universal laws, you know, like spiritual. You might have heard some of this stuff. It's kind of overplayed a little bit. But what I'm about to say is going to make sense. There's a principle called the principle of compensation.
Okay.
So, you know, we all do things to compensate for other things.
Yes.
You know, it's not conscious either.
Right.
But it's something you just do. You know, like if
subconsciously.
totally,
You know what I mean?
you know,
Right. Yeah.
so it's in our actions, it's in our, you know, whatever we're doing, sports, you know, say we're driving a car. So, you know, the idea is that we always try to find things to compensate for other things. So what an autistic kid does is that, hey, if they don't have certain things, certain components that maybe other people have, they're going to subconsciously try to find a way to compensate for those things. So that's what makes them seem like a genius, is because, okay, maybe this person can't speak well. Okay, maybe they have poor social skills. Oh man, but they can retain information really well. Well, his memory is actually really good.
Right.
But he can't socialize and he can't tell you that. But if you know how to pick it up, because like I said, because I'm versed in the psychological world, I can pick up on, oh my God, okay, he actually, see, a kid like that wouldn't know that. He wouldn't know that
Right.
the first and second president, and he wouldn't know about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like for him to know that and me to pick up on it, that
Right.
means number one, that I know that he has some level of some sort of like ability, whatever it is. Maybe he has poor memory, but he's got really good speaking skills.
Right.
Because
Right.
how old are you right now?
23.
26.
26. I'm 29. All right. So like you're in the age that you will see Neuralink, and like with Elon Musk saying like he wants to start implementing that, your grandchild
Yeah.
will most likely maybe have a Neuralink. Like how
Maybe
do
even
you
your
feel
child.
about
Potentially.
that?
I think it'll come sooner between that.
Technology,
Yeah.
like I said, with technologies, AI, and everything. Like
Yeah.
I was a '94 baby. Like it was like I was the last. Like before they was like, all right, we off to
Yeah.
this new shit.
This is arguably
I
know,
you
yes.
know, but people say that. People said that in the 90s. People said that in the 80s. People said that in the 70s. Like hands down, this is arguably one of the greatest times to be alive right now, and you're in the greatest country to be able to do it too.
Yeah.
You know, because I know that it's, see, for me to say that is kind of weird, because
Yeah.
I have a love-hate relationship with the way that the country is run.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But
Right.
I do recognize that there's a distinction here. It's beautiful. The individuals that make up the country may be the discrepancy, but the country itself, the way the country is formatted, the way the country exists, is great. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It absolutely is. It's just, you know, people get confused with the individual versus the country, and there's nothing wrong with the country. So moving forward, you're absolutely right. Neuralink, I actually saw somebody else, so they were deaf in one ear. So they had, I think it was, he said Elon Musk, but he had this thing inside of his head.
Yeah.
No, it was like
It's a
Not in the ear, but literally.
it was
yeah. I
tapped into
know.
his head.
Yeah, those are special devices that are made for people who like biologically, like just like don't have the biological components.
Yeah, like he was born. I think he was born deaf in one ear.
Yeah. So,
So
like,
he had that.
He didn't
to
have
help.
something in the ear.
no, that was already like that was made years ago.
Yeah,
Like,
but what was crazy is he was walking around like a normal person.
Yeah,
He could hear you
like,
with
of course
everything.
he'd be a normal person.
He was, I mean, yeah, but I'm
Yeah,
saying like we didn't have, we had the hearing aid probably in about the 40s or something like that. But he was really like, I didn't even know he was deaf.
Right.
Like that's what's so crazy about it.
Could you see the thing?
I could see it. It wasn't inside of his head. It was like a magnetic thing he could take off, but when he put it on, it like locked into place, and you were like, "Whoa, what was that?" And that was like, there's something in his head that just locks up. That was another thing. It was
built-in.
Bluetooth.
Oh, that's
You
crazy.
could play music off of it. I remember now.
That's wild.
That was, man, it was amazing. It was so cool to see.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause I watched him pull out his phone and he was like, oh yeah, Spotify, click. He turned it up so you could hear it. I was like, what?
Wait, you could hear it coming out of his little thing?
No, you could hear it coming out of, he had an earpiece. It's like you could hear.
Oh yeah, because all these things that link up. Because even my coworker, he has hearing aids that link up to Bluetooth. So he
Yeah.
can play music to his
So I
phone.
mean, we really already, it's not that we're going to have any of this stuff, it's that we already have it.
Like I said, I was watching Joe Rogan Experience, and he was talking with another comedian I listened to, Akash Singh, and Akash said, like, what we're seeing right now is the worst it will ever be. And the shit looks pretty goddamn real. Like, even video game graphics, like Unreal Engine 5, man, when I be seeing those motherfucking, like, trailers and shit, I be like,
Yeah.
goddamn, this like a
Yeah, we'll probably get 8K.
real movie.
We'll get 8K video. I want to say in the next 10 years easily.
Yeah, they already got, like,
They're
the...
already coming out with it.
They have 8K. Like you can look up on YouTube right now, 8K video.
Yeah.
Like 8K, like they got like little drone shots
Like,
of stuff.
Yeah.
they have it. It's just
That's
it
what I
costs
saw.
a grip right now when it's like to the mainstream
It's-
like market where it's
Yeah.
like really just affordable, like with the transparent TV screens,
Yeah.
like those.
You just saw that? Did you see those?
Yeah, see,
I just saw that like yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Transparent. So right there. That's holograms right there. That is the dawn. That's
transparent TV screen.
literally that's
A
it.
whole TV.
It's this without the frame, and it's literally just the screen, and it's like a fish tank.
Dang,
It's like a fish tank without the fish.
That's sick.
Yeah, and it's essentially it's just image. It's just a thin layer.
That's wild.
They got it to where like you could get one that's a paint frame, like an old school, like old artsy painting frame
Yeah,
with all like the original shit on it.
yeah.
Like they even got those with TVs.
Oh, that's wild. That's creative.
Oh, it's like if you go like you see like the type of houses they're building now. Like they just finished building that one house in LA, the most
Okay.
expensive house in all of America.
Wow.
Was it LA or?
Yeah, it was LA.
Okay.
No, it's like LA. It cost $400 to $500 million to build it. This dude wanted to like sell it for like almost $1 billion, but like nobody wanted to pay for it because just like the house was so grandiose. It's like it's not even a house. It's like a compound, like Apple compound.
Yeah.
It's like on that type of level, and it's like
Are you
Yeah.
talking about the guy that shorted GameStop and he then, made billions, and then I believe, if this isn't the same guy,
he was a real estate developer.
okay, it's not the same guy.
Yeah, because like those guys, like I said, like when it comes to that, like the stock market and stuff, like shoot,
Have you guys heard about that GameStop?
yeah, that movie they just made.
Oh yeah, they made a movie about it too. So basically, one of the guys he became a billionaire, and he is developing a house in Florida. I believe it's Florida, worth like $1 billion or something.
Yeah.
And people are mad because it's in a neighborhood that has huge houses already. But this house stunts on all these other houses. So people in the neighborhood are like, just like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm building it for my mom. But like, a lot of people were scrutinizing it on, online and stuff. So like, this just isn't necessary.
Who would live here, basically?
Yeah, his mom, like, she's probably old, I'm guessing. Probably gonna take her a while to get across, from the living room to the kitchen.
Yeah, I mean that's true. I mean,
Like
it makes sense. A lot of these, everything's expensive in California.
it's like
Yeah.
when I see houses like that, I don't feel bad when squatters go in there and live in there.
Does that happen?
Oh, all the time. Like it's been like a large news cycle about like because Florida just started implementing laws to like where they can get rid of squatters. People would just come into your home, stay there, say like for 30 days,
Yeah.
and then they legally have access to your like spot as
Yeah.
a tenant.
It's an interesting strategy. I was homeless for 6 months.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I gotta talk about that.
I was being stupid.
Whoa.
I was being stupid. I got kicked out of my mom's house for not paying rent.
Okay.
Obviously I had to apologize to her. Me and my mother have an amazing relationship.
Oh man, I wish my mama would.
I was doing it on my own accord. I was a part of this cult thing, and I'm not gonna get into that. But the idea is
Like when you think you know somebody, ladies and gentlemen,
right.
that's the thing is
Definitely.
like I was a part of cult.
Listen to me. You get a lot of guests on this podcast, but I can only guarantee one thing is that I will continue to surprise you. You know what I'm saying? Because I've definitely been around.
As long as it's not with a knife, I'm good.
Right. Listen, that's the only thing I haven't done. I haven't shot and killed anybody, but
Yeah.
I've definitely had an experience for sure. So anyway, for 6 months I was homeless, and this is why I really have less sympathy for homeless people. Okay. Is because if you have the right mentality, you can actually survive out here. It is actually not hard to survive out here. Maybe it was easier back in the day. It kind of goes either way because we got locked doors and you got all these magnets and swiping cards. So it's harder to get into stuff. To do as a homeless person is, depending on how much stuff you have. Number one, you need a base of operations.
You're saying how much stuff you have as
like if you got a bunch of clothes, okay, fine.
Like bags,
if you got like bags of like whole equipment, I don't know what you would have, like computers and shit. It's going to be harder for you to kind of like be in motion and move around. So you need to have a place. I call it the base of operations.
Okay.
So you need an area wherever that is, an abandoned train station. You know what I'm saying? Like it can be like some old fizz. You might not want to live in Michigan if you're homeless. I'm not gonna lie. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense because you got to survive those winters. Those winters are very important. You got to survive those winters. So if you know how to survive the winters, then you can stay in Michigan. But this is why they say California is a place for the homeless, because you can actually survive out there. The weather isn't ridiculous.
Beautiful.
Like Michigan has horrible blizzards.
Yeah.
From time to time, and they're bipolar, especially if you're not paying attention.
All throughout the Midwest, because that's another thing with the homeless, like because cities will put them on buses and just ship them like to the west or wherever.
That's what I would do. Listen, if anything, that's always been my rule.
Me too.
If anything ever hits the fan, And this isn't just for homeless. Hey, I got an ugly girl pregnant. I don't want to get, hey, listen, I'm leaving the country. You know what I'm saying? Like, or worst case scenario, like, and that's an extreme.
What's your worst? Like, hey, let's everybody do one. Like, Johnny, meet you.
Yeah.
Tell me, like, what's your worst case scenario? Shit that hit the fan, like I don't want to say world ending thing because that wouldn't make sense. Because why run any?
Right. Well, it's personal to you.
Like, you got like some 7-8 mile, like it's 8 mile niggas coming after you and they want you dead. Like you done fucked up
Action.
a $50 million bag for them. So they want you dead. What's your plan to escape?
Yeah, okay, so people want me dead. That's pretty simplistic. There's a couple ways you can actually run that. You can hide in plain sight. So, there's a bunch of ways you can kind of pull that off. I could just buy a van, and I could live in the van and just, I could still stay in Michigan and just live on another part of Michigan. I can go to the UP.
Yeah, but I'm saying these people still like they actively like out hunting. Like they got law enforcement on payroll. They got street people on payroll.
Now we've
tapped into like surveillance shit.
Yeah, so now we've advanced. So in the event that I'm leaving Michigan, which is probably going to be, I don't really need to leave the country in that case because, law enforcement they've got limitations. These guys, it sounds like they're somewhat serious, but they still have limitations. They might not cross, state borders. If they do, I can just go somewhere up in like Oregon or something, some racist country.
But Oregon is the example for everything today.
But it's like whatever.
So like they're gonna hide not in urban settings, but in nature and country.
I mean, I could at the same time I could hide. I could just go to a different urban setting. If I need to go to Chicago and just find how Chicago moves and just live among Chicago.
Get your stuff dreaded up.
Right, I mean, whatever, whatever. We got disguises. There's a bunch of stuff you can do nowadays. It's so easy. But like, that's what I'm saying. Hiding in plain sight is simple.
But I'm saying like they got like, but I'm saying like, well, I mean like these guys is after you. I'm talking about like they got all of law enforcement. I mean FBI. With all the street gangs, they all tapped in. Like you've pissed off, like with John Wick type level of shit.
John Wick. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. We're advancing. So whenever we advance, we have to consider, number one thing my dad has taught me is to always have a contingency. Yeah. You always need a backup plan every time. Hey, my car breaks down. Hey, my dad has his car. So that's a backup plan. Hey, okay, we got this amount of money. Okay, well, we got a safe deposit box with this much money in it. We got we got some bank. Well, hey, that's a backup plan.
Right.
If stuff hits the fan, I got this, and I can go get this right now, and I can go grab that, and I can go utilize it however I need to utilize it. So, I grew up watching a lot of spy movies.
What's your favorite one?
Ugh. I like Mission Impossible, but
just talking about that yesterday. That's crazy.
Yeah. I really do. Mission Impossible is really good. There's a couple that aren't really
watch
movies. Spy Kids was good.
It's a kids movie, but
the technology in Spy Kids is the best part. Yeah, I love the tech. That microwave where you throw in some like freeze dried thing and then it pops out a huge burger or pops out like a quarter. Yeah. Remember that? That's the most memorable thing I can remember about that is that you could throw like whatever you wanted and it says microwave and literally like 10 seconds later a whole like cuisine came out. It was like what the heck?
They got better technology. I'm pretty sure they do.
Oh, totally. See, and this is why I actually run a technological company. I think I told you about it. I run a tech company.
A little bit.
And one thing that we really prioritize, because technology to me is really not just the future, but it's also a dream for a lot of people.
Right.
So one thing I want to get started is I want normal people to have access to helicopters.
That'd be sick.
Uber helicopters. That's really what I'm looking to do. I would love to have access or to be able to kind of mess around with the idea. Hey, I want to go to California tomorrow. Well, dang, I don't have $1,000. I don't have a band, or I don't got $500 or whatever to go. To
cross country Uber.
Right. Well, hey, you got these pickup stations. You got these helicopter pickup stations. Yeah. Maybe it's a private airplane field, or maybe you just go to Coleman Young, or maybe you just go to Romulus. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But there's
smaller planes.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So you get this split access and you don't have to go through all that nonsense, similar to if you had a private jet. But I'm an Uber helicopter. Okay, I'm just going on the helicopter.
So for people who own like their own private like
airfields, right. I think that'd be most ideal because trying to go through maybe Coleman Young, you don't have to go through all that. But definitely if you're going to Romulus or if you're going to Rapids.
So I'm saying like if you like say like how people own boats,
like
they also own like their private helicopter and airplane too, so they could just like I Uber on the car like. As long as my license.
You don't need a huge airfield for helicopters.
No, like you could park it at like Detroit airport. Like, they got hangars and stuff there for like regular civilians.
Yeah, the Coleman Young. Yeah. So that's what I said
for regular civilians for helicopters.
Yeah, for like all that shit. Like you gonna pay like about a
Oh.
good like damn near $1,000 a month just to park there. But
Okay. Well,
like,
if you
yeah.
got a helicopter, you probably can afford it.
oh man,
Yeah.
shit, like to be able to fly, because like getting like, would you get your pilot's license?
I would not. I would pay somebody. I would see. This is why I like networking. This is why I never went to college.
I would have thought it would have been
I'll
so
just find
funny if it would have been like, I have it.
Right? Wouldn't that be great? No. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of that. Although me being a pilot only benefits me. So it only benefits me, but I'd rather just pay somebody. You know what I'm saying? I don't have the time. My grandfather was in the Air Force. So if I really wanted to do it, I would just be carrying on a lineage of what's already there. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
but
saying?
like I would like to do it because like it would help my escape plan. Like if I got motherfuckers like on a John Wick level coming at me, I would first
Guy with the
empty out
Yeah,
all my
yeah,
bank
bro.
accounts, get as much liquid cash as I
I
can.
tell you what, man, you're dead if people from John Wick come after you, you're dead.
Oh,
at
shit,
the
like
first
I'm on that like says level.
It's tricky, you know. Like you can,
No,
you'll have a good run, but it's all about the experience. You know, we can talk mess about this all day long, but it's really just about the experience, about what you know to do. And hey, if I got some hole in the ground, literally a hole in the ground, or some sort of like basement secret compartment, you know, where I can plan all this stuff out and I can go do what I need to do, and I can hide here for. Give it about 2 years, because most things die down in in a couple of years. So
Right.
give it about 2-3 years, you know, then that's fine, and I can stay right here in Michigan as long as I've got some secret compartment, some some
just go to
beep,
Paris.
beep, and then everything.
What's the crime? What is the crime that was committed?
I'm just saying, like you
If
pissed
there's-
off some like
yeah.
cartel or like some $100 million from the cartel, and they want you dead.
Okay, great, money.
That's good. Yeah, you got
So yeah,
some
so you can so with money, your face is gonna kind of be. It's not gonna see, because cartel doesn't have that much influence. They have a lot of influence.
But I mean, you living in a digital era.
If we're talking about cartel, though, we're talking about down south.
Yeah,
Yeah, but like
they're up here too. They're
because cartel, like because the cartels, they had drone technology like good 10 fucking years before it hit the main U.S. market.
They probably do. You know, it's
because like you gotta
black
understand,
market.
It's
because
the
you gotta
data.
understand, like
the Los Zetas.
when it comes to like drugs, they're going up against like these drug cartels and shit. They're going up against the United States government,
Yeah.
all these other governments, and they pour all their money and resources into getting the technology and shit in order to make it. But like
Yeah.
you gotta understand, they all like have like they don't really outright pay them. They set up shell companies and shadow companies. So
Yeah.
certain corporations that'd be like, yeah, this is an engineering firm. You, Eddie, like we want you to work on how to get a drone to be able to carry like a 25-pound package from here to Southwest or here to Southfield.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's possible. You know what it introduces. I'm glad he said that. What that really reminds me of is you have the underworld and you got the overworld. You know, and the overworld is the way you would legally do it. How would you legally get money? Well, you start a business. Okay, maybe get LLC. You know, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, you get the underworld. Well, hey, the underworld is you operate everything. You know, the regular world as we see it.
The radar.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Kind of
like
essentially.
when you work for a private, like so it's like when you're actually like when you got a 9 to 5 or you're a private contractor. Cause like on your like, cause like as like yeah, cause like what you working at a restaurant, how do they categorize you? Well,
Yeah, employee W-2 form, you know that, but all of that is the overworld. Even you doing even you being a contractor is still the overworld. What I mean about underworld is we got black market, you got the
they're not paying taxes.
more than likely they're not. Yeah, but it's like, hey, you got the black market. You know, you with the black market, you've got these. You know, you can get access to all sorts of technology that
Oh yeah.
you probably wouldn't have access to. So that's what my company is about too. Is that we're about military technology. I like, you know, I want to reinforce some doors on some cars. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like I want to buy whole vehicles that have like, you know, like bulletproof glass.
That's
You
what-
know,
like
you know what I'm saying?
Alpine.
So like the
Yeah.
new Tesla truck, kind of in a way.
Kind of in a way, you know, I've seen 3 of those. I'm so excited every time I
On
see
the
one.
road?
I point them out. Oh my God, I've seen 3. Man, that thing is, I'm not gonna lie, that thing's huge. That's a
like-
big truck.
How many parkings could have fit one parking
Ugh,
space?
that thing is like 2 cars almost.
It looked weird as fuck to me. Like that, like I see no real like practical use for this motherfucker. Like I get the concept of it fully.
Yeah,
Like this is just the first one out of a fleet of these motherfuckers they gonna have.
yeah.
Like it's just like for me, like the Tesla truck doesn't really show no different than like what any of these other like type of trucks.
I think it's a little more aerodynamic. I think it's natural. I think it has like
Fast.
yeah, it might have some level of. I don't think you really would use it for speed, but
No,
I think it can
especially
carry
one.
some things. So there's always applications for this stuff. And people take things way too seriously. Clearly, Elon Musk is playing. You know, this is a concept, and they're seeing if it works. And if it works, great. If not, okay, no problem. problem. You know,
Right.
we'll change it up because this is deviant from his Tesla model.
Exactly.
This is extremely deviant. This looks like some like 3-dimensional prototype that wasn't supposed to happen in the first place. So the idea is that people, like I said, people take things way too seriously.
Right.
Hey, does this have an application? Yes or no? Okay, well maybe it does, and maybe it doesn't. It doesn't really even matter in the first place. If you don't like it, don't buy it.
Right.
You know? So that's the whole idea.
Because I'm saying it's like, because me, I have a Ford, and like,
It's nice.
yeah, like for a truck, like it does everything that I need the truck to do. The Cybertruck, and it's like Elon saying like I can make a truck better than the people who've been doing it for over 100 fucking.
Totally not. I don't think he is either because
But-
electric Hummer. Look at electric Hummer.
Oh yeah, but I'm just saying though, it's like from like multiple people, but I'm just saying it's like from Elon's own like mental perspective is you gotta understand like because you gotta agree like he's very like arrogant and selfish in his endeavors to because like you only become the world's richest man being that way.
You invest your
Like you really gotta like
You
not
invest
care
in
about
Tesla.
people at all in order to like get to a couple $100 billion. Like
Like,
you gotta
Say,
understand.
you invest in Tesla, and not everyone, but most people, they'll invest in Tesla, they'll invest in SpaceX, they'll invest in these companies a lot of times because of Elon.
Yeah.
They think they're investing in Elon because they believe in him.
Yeah.
And something like, what was that one company? Remember he made that little small random company where he sold the little flamethrower thing?
I forgot what that was.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah, and, like everybody had those flames.
Yeah, yeah. It was just like a one-time thing, but like he just has fun with it, and
Yeah.
and I think that's why he's so, he's obviously not.
And I get that, like Elon, but it's like just because you're great at SpaceX, you're great at engineering, you're great at the Neuralink shit. Well, Neuralink, we really got to see how
Yeah,
that
we
plays
gotta-
out.
yeah.
But it's like just because you're great at those things don't necessarily mean you're great in an automotive like this. Teslas, when the first couple models came out, it was like, all right, when they had the Roadster and stuff, like I was like, okay, that's cool, like just stick with that. But like when you like going into the trucks and then to like making like shit like because I believe Elon's gonna start making airplanes next to compete with Boeing.
He actually said, no. I think he is. Yeah, he might do the airplanes. What he said he's not going to do ever is motorcycles.
Yeah.
So you can count on not to do motorcycles. The idea is that
So,
I wanted to challenge your point for a bit because what I understand Elon Musk to be is not someone. See, I don't think you have to be this arrogant person, to have all that money. Hey, that's what shows up because of the environment that you get put in and the type of person you might need to be with all of that money because hey, people can take advantage of you.
Right.
oh yeah,
Certainly.
oh no, like you got it. Like I understand, like having your self protection
Yeah.
in order, like to. But what I'm saying is arrogance is Elon believes that he can save the world. But if he can't be the person to save the world, like I say, if you or me comes up with the idea and whatnot,
Yeah.
he's not gonna back it like how he would if it was his idea.
Well,
Even
sure.
though it's even though
there's
it's
everyone. They go-
even though,
Yeah.
but like I'm saying though, it's like, but if your goal, if you're saying I want to save the world, if you're telling yourself is I'm the most clean energy guy, like this is what I'm doing to help keep the peace or whatnot. Put your money where your fucking mouth is and actually show us that you're doing it. Like, don't just sit back when like you see World War III on the fucking horizon. Actually have a backbone and say, "Yo, guys, knock this shit the fuck off."
Well,
Right.
he has
Because like he has him, Bezos, a lot of these motherfucking multi-billionaire people have the ability to pull the plug on this shit like that. But we know, like, which we all know for a fact they do. They're the lobbyists. They the ones who pay these motherfuckers.
No, they're not the lobbyists.
I wouldn't say
Hey,
that.
lobbying
Not
both.
Bezos.
But like most shit, he can make some shit just.
There's people higher than Bezos. There's people higher than Musk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we don't-
Oh, like I mean, yeah, like
Yeah.
the fucking like wealth families, like families who like
the trilaterals and stuff like that. There's those guys, and I would even argue there's guys even equivalent that you may not have heard of. So what really is being lacked here is perspective,
Yeah.
because we don't know what Musk, we don't know what Bezos, we don't know what any of these guys are thinking or what they're doing or what's going through their head. We're looking at their actions and trying to make an assessment.
Right.
And it's really, really, really hard to make an assessment off of somebody you've never even met.
Yeah.
You've barely even seen. Think about how often you've seen him. You only seen him on the internet. Right, exactly. So the idea is that,
Yeah,
hey, as a
that's true.
millionaire, well, number one, to get to $1 million is an achievement. But when you first get to $1 million, you actually realize you know, and I'm not a millionaire, so I'm not supposed to know
I know what
this.
you mean.
But the idea is you actually realize that you're in kindergarten.
Yeah.
You know, because there's so much more to do after you get to the million. You got to get to 100 million.
Yeah.
You got to get to a billion. Okay, what's it like as a billionaire? Well, what about the responsibilities? So, hey, could they pour all their money and save Africa? Of course. You know, could they pour all their money in poverty in America? Of course.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But, you know, people don't understand that the economy is a cycle.
Oh, yes, I get that
It's a big
1,000%, but it's like, if you're going to be that way, just be that in silence. Don't touch yourself as, oh, I'm the guy who's going to save the world, when if you're going to save the world, like I say, he's going to save the world how he wants to save it.
Sure. I mean,
in my opinion, like, if saving the world in traditional sense
yeah.
is you putting the people first, not just yourself. And
Well, if you see what I see that is, and I'm just telling you what my opinion is, what I see that is okay, he wants to save the world. Okay, well, saving the world on some landmark shit, this is a possibility he's creating. It's something that's possible. And it's something that very rarely could actually happen by himself, can he?
No.
So he needs some level of support from either the people, from either his team or whoever, to be able to implicate that, because he cannot, obviously he can't do it by himself. And that's, if I was in his shoes, that's what I would do. Okay, I'm going to save the world. Okay, well, how you going to do that? Oh, I want to do this, then, the third. Okay, great. All right, well, hey, are you going to do it by yourself? Who are you going to include? Okay, well, I'm going to need this amount of people and this amount of people I'm going to need to. So it's when you talk about saving the world, you're talking about being selfless first. So this is why we can actually prove his, if you will, his unarrogance based off of his actions, based off his behavior, based off of who he's being. Who is Elon Musk being in these scenarios? You know, okay, oh, well, he was kind of cocky to make that truck. Well, hey, what if he was just messing around? What if he was just playing? So perspective is really, really everything here. And the more perspective you have, the more consideration, forget about perspective, the more consideration you have, the more I think you can really begin to understand where people are and what they're doing. And if you should take them as seriously as they may try to come up. Oh, that was really bold of him to try and replicate.
I mean, like, the truck costs like over $100,000, and they have to recall it because the pedal gets stuck.
It like,
Sure.
Like,
we'll put a picture.
that shit is like, you don't think he'd have pistol whipped up an engineer for that? Like,
Yeah, well,
as much time and energy as
looking
he put,
forward.
like, for the last, like, because that truck been like supposed to come out like before the pandemic, and I give him like the 3 years, like when it was like sidelined for that.
well, the question is, how many of those trucks had the pedal not working?
Oh shit, they recalled at least 4,000.
Okay.
I believe they had like, I mean, how many of them in production? Like out on the road was like very small. Like I think it was like, under 60, 80,000.
Okay, 60, 80,000. Right. So, hey, if 4,000 have a pedal issue, you know, and this is what I understand, and my dad's getting me clear about this because I have huge discrepancies with that too. It's like, wait a minute, Ford, what do you mean if I buy me a new Ford Sport or a Ford F-150 or whatever, that this is going to have some issues? It's like, wait a minute, you guys have been making cars for almost 120 years.
Right.
What are you talking about? You know, so the idea is that this is just how cars is. This is how cars go.
They're made to have faults and stuff.
Well, it's not even that they're made to have faults. It's like they don't even identify the faults until about 10 year
Everything,
usage,
yeah.
5-year usage, 2-year usage, whatever, after the vehicle. The fact they're able to, I guess that Elon's able to pick this stuff up now and they're able to recall everything. Okay, hey, we tried that didn't work. Hey, go ahead and give us the car back. We'll do whatever. It's all a test.
But this is like a repetitive thing.
Okay,
especially
so real quick,
he'll promise the world to it, but then it will be like almost under delivered.
but at least he's doing it. You know what I mean? Like he under delivers, but he says he's gonna do it and he does it. And he's clearly a smart man.
You say that until you're the one who crashed in a damn car. Like,
Yeah, but
That's
that's
true.
such a small minority.
That's perspective though.
But that's when it comes to like macroeconomics. Like it's like you have to decide whether or not people make decisions every day about like, okay, when they're designing the freeway, they make decisions based on, where the exit goes and then based on traffic patterns and stuff like that. And they know a certain amount of people are going to die because that's happened in the past. So that's just a pattern in years. And so they take that into account, and sometimes they'll have to make decisions that will maybe more people will die, like in that like area, but like on a larger scale, they don't die.
because like it's like for construction, like maybe not, because like they got OSHA standards and stuff, so like they created that to prevent unsafe work environment.
Right.
So like what I'm trying to say is like if you're known for creating a fucking rocket ship that can fucking fly up and re-land itself, a truck should be a simple feat for you, but obviously some shit
Expectation.
happens.
So-
It's like I probably have high expectations of a man, but it's like when the fucking media told you to be the fucking real life Iron Man. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, come on,
Sure.
you gotta face this scrutiny head
This
on.
is a personification. So this is what. But you know what's great is that this is what society does.
Yes.
This is exactly what society does. Is that
straight
they'll
facts.
think you can. They'll see you do something, and then they'll hold you to the account in every area. And hey, is Elon Musk building a rocket ship mean that he's going to be an amazing soccer player?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Is Elon Musk building a rocket ship? He's going to be an amazing plumber. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
Yeah, that's
the
what Jesus ain't came back
associations.
yet.
Right. And is he
That's what
building
Jesus
it?
ain't came back yet.
Is he
Sure, that's right.
Is he building it, or is he the one putting money into it? Because he's not the engineer.
I would say that he's definitely more than just the guy putting the money into it.
Oh, yeah,
because
he's
that's
definitely
an
he's on the
investor.
good side.
That's an investor.
Yeah.
Right.
Because Elon is very hands-on.
Well,
He's
he's
very much
the
on
biggest
side.
shareholder of these
Yeah.
companies, which makes sense because he believes in himself. But also, like,
No, that's
he
right.
hires people that, he doesn't care about their college degree. He doesn't care about, degrees, like how it used to be back in the day.
Yeah.
Now he cares about, like, okay, show me that you can help me. Like, show me something that you've made or done, like, in the past. I don't know how it works with rocket companies,
Yeah.
but, something along those lines where it's like, oh, okay, based off of this, I think you'd be an asset to my team.
Kind of like anomalies, it seems. Kind of like anomalies almost, or people.
And like I said, that's what happens with private interests. Like I said, like with the private sector versus like the corporate sector or like the government sector. Like say like with Jonte Porter, like I give you an example. The reason they found out Jonte Porter was gambling is because like that the amounts he put on there, and they hired like the NBA, they hired former FBI, CIA, DEA investigators in order to come work for them in order to find these people. Like they'll like when it comes to like say you're the best in the field cracking safes, no matter what type of safe, manual, lock, digital, you can that motherfucker for 30 seconds or less. I would hire you and I would pay you whatever amount of money you ask me just because I want you on my team so we can rob Eddie or like whoever else to get their safe. But if Eddie has just the amount of money to me or a little bit more than me, you could like go to him and be like, yo, like who you gonna go to? Type of situation.
Yeah.
Like we're saying, like with the open market and like your skill set, like I said, everybody gonna go where they're gonna go, like if it's legal or whatnot. Like depending on like even if it's illegal. Because even like I said, cartel members, they will pay scientists and like fucking geologists, government officials, whoever, in order to get what they need to get off. Like it's just basic capitalism.
Right.
What I'm saying is like, if you're gonna don't say one thing and then be another way. Like they said, like Elon Musk, his whole brand.
So you
is
don't
himself.
think he's trying to save the world?
I think he's trying to make a nice chunk of the world for himself. Because like I really do believe like he can do a lot better good, like a lot more good than what he's doing. Like I said, with the rockets and stuff, that's cool. With Starlink, that's what's up. But it's like when it comes to these trucks and stuff like that, I'd say put that to the side. Try to like lobby so that you can make houses. Like we need a couple more cities out here. Because a lot of these people are just broke, starving, need jobs. Like a lot of these companies ship all the shit that we really need out of the fucking country.
So essentially,
because our economy is like, I get like what you're like he's because like I said, like he's making a first truck ever, putting $100,000 price tag on it, but is it really worth $100,000, or is it just because Elon Musk Tesla name
right
versus what is actually?
It's the whole thing. It's really the brand. So the idea here, I think the biggest idea that needs to be had here is that number one, you have to understand the economy works. You have to understand how businessmen work too. All right. And I think that's the biggest thing about it, is that people don't really get how this world works. They see stuff and then they make assessments and assumptions. And that's not the right way you should be doing things. If you want to live a successful life, you have to understand how the economy works.
Right.
If you want to be really, really successful, you have to understand how the economy works. You understand the economy is a big circle. There's a reason people are in the poor bracket. There's a reason people are in the quote unquote middle class bracket, which is technically not middle class, and there's a reason why people are.
Well, I understand but you also have to understand like people within those brackets, like managerial class, like there's some motherfuckers who just hold you back just because it's in their best interest to, like, with you say he's being homeless. Like LA homelessness is far more rampant than it is here in Detroit.
Of course, yeah.
Because like I said,
people
survive, you can survive. But I'm just saying, it's like what it is, the government there in LA, they've completely just fucking wiped their hands clean of the shit. They don't give a fuck no more because like whoever it is that's getting paid on the government's budget to rectify the homeless situation, it's not in their best interest to rectify it because as long as there's going to be a homeless situation, they have a paycheck.
Sure.
And that check could be like 60,000, 100,000.
Well, let's take a look. If we just stay in economics, if we look at how expensive it is in California, how expensive is it really to live in California? Like that, it is very expensive.
They don't build. That's because like they've passed legislation in the past to keep from building new houses, new high rises, new like apartment complexes because like California is like it's a 50-50 conservative liberal state, just like New York, 50-50. Like they really like bump heads on it, like because liberals they're like, oh, we have to have these valleys open for that nature, yada yada yada. Conservatives like, no, we need the fucking space with state. Come on, grow up. Like we gotta fucking expand. Like even like but even like that comes at a price because like when you overexpand, you like especially in the desert because all the West Coast is a fucking desert.
Yeah,
with small oases in it.
It goes hand in hand. I would say that Republicans and Democrats are eating out of each other's pockets.
Oh, because it's a fucking like they make it seem like it's one or the other, but really it's like they're both in on the shit. It's like,
of course, and it's a huge distraction. So
real quick, Eddie, what do you have? Like, do you have any dates coming up in terms of like, you know, where you're doing stand up or anything else? Anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, totally. So every Friday and Saturday, obviously we do Tony Ronnie's. So that's Starters Bar and Grill on Plymouth Road. It's right there. You know, it's right there before you get to Evergreen, Plymouth Road. So we do that every Friday and Saturday. That's me and my dad, the Dirty Deacon. And then obviously every Wednesday we go to Mr. Maps. It's Maps Lounge on Wednesdays. So you can catch me. You can catch me at all those dates. We do have, like I said, we do have a couple other things showing up on that I'm probably going to be 2 and 2 too. Is I'm kind of just working on. There's a lot of stuff I'm just working on. I'm working on a lot of projects. I'm doing a lot of different things. So I mean that's basically about it. Obviously, they can follow me on my Instagram.
We'll put the link under in the description.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, all of that is basically what it is, and man, I've just been working, just trying to get, because the idea is you're just trying to get up, you know what I'm saying? So everything I'm doing is just to make sure I get up, and it's not about me, it's about supporting other people. So it's totally about supporting you guys, it's about supporting other comedians. Yeah, totally. So that is what there is to offer, whatever it is. I don't care if we need to generate some money, see if we need to find a way, to get some funding, whatever it is. I want to be the guy to be able to create that stuff, because miracles really do happen.
Yeah.
Before you even get to a miracle, you just got endless possibilities and opportunities.
True, man.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people don't believe in miracles. Miracles very much do happen, and it actually is just based off of what you perceive a miracle to be. Right. Somebody might be in a really tight situation or a really bad bind, and what they need is a miracle or somebody to come out of nowhere, it seems, and kind of like, I
actually got a testimony of a miracle.
Yeah.
Shit, like a couple of weeks ago, I was fucked up in the pocket, man. But God never forsake me. Went outside, I found another nigga wallet, had about $300 in that.
Yeah, that's an air horn right there. That's
like, my Lord never forsake me. Yes.
Damn, bro.
Like, I put his wallet in the mailbox, but shit, I had to get that fee, man. Like, oh hell yeah,
talking about a fee.
That's the Lord blessing for me. I don't know what the world that man did to get that money. It was all 20s, man. That's in the streets or something.
That was theft.
Yeah, like I looked at the address, it wasn't nowhere around where it was at.
We're gonna edit this out. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. So anyway, after the armed robbery,
well, no.
No, but I mean, bro, at least you delivered his wallet.
Oh yeah, so he get his information back, sure, because it's like. You can take the L on some cash, but when it comes to standing in line to have to go get your motherfucking Social Security license and all your other shit back, and then it's like if you get your credit card and if it's in the fucking red, nigga, they ain't gonna give you new until you pay your shit off.
Hey, now the studio's bugged with FBI and shit. They're coming upstairs right now, right?
Oh my!
They're coming upstairs right now.
Dave, Dave?
I'm present on all my shit.
Open up.
And my credit score pretty good.
Dave's the man over there. He's our sound engineer. Shout out Dave. Shout out Eddie. Shout out Punchline Eddie. What do you prefer?
So I actually do a lot of freestyle. I've been doing some freestyling with a friend of mine. So I have a different like music name. It's called Almighty.
Okay.
like, with an X instead of the I. So like I said, I have a bunch of different names, but I mean, Punchline Eddie is fine. Just you know, I exist in this comedy world, so that's kind of where I like to exist in. No, that's kind of been what I am. You know what I'm saying? But it's not
Yeah.
Punchline Eddie. It's just Eddie. You know what I'm saying? Or Almighty. You know, that's like
Hell
that's
yeah.
some music I'm working on with a friend of mine, and you know, I'm a man of many talents. So you know, that's
That's what I got, man.
I just had busted balls a bit. But with that being said, guys, thank you for listening. Have a good night. Peace.